Want me to start drinking anyway, really. So, tend to sort of keep it to myself. Where somebody get a problem, they sort of tell everybody about it, which could be a good thing, really.
I was 16 when I started taking drugs. I moved out of home because I really didn't get on with my stepfather. Looking back, I think I was probably still grieving over the death of my father, who died when I was 13, and I was very, very close to him. Phone a funeral director, I was only 12, and I'd had to look after him. She just shut down. My dad put him in a room and went, right, we won't go to that room anymore. And quite soon after he died, my mother married another person who I really didn't get on with. My mother didn't believe me. I was trying to explain to her how horrible this stepfather was being. I was doing cannabis and things, and he was kind of trying to get across to me, don't just be a sheep, don't be like everyone else. When my mother was in the room next door, he'd kind of spit on me and things. Nobody wants you here. And I just felt so angry that after all that kind of involvement I'd had, when, and helping her in the pub when I should have been studying and all this kind of thing. And then, she just marries this other guy and I'm just kind of pushed out of the way. And I think that was really what made me so angry, that was what got me on the wrong road. At the time, I knew a few people who were injecting drugs and they didn't seem very much impaired. They seemed to still be functioning. And I started injecting, and I was doing amphetamine, morphine, anything really, anything that could stop me feeling for a while and thinking. Because by now I kind of realised I'd moved out of home too early, and I'd lost contact completely with my mother. I'd let myself completely down because I'd flunked all my exams, so all my kind of plans were out the window. So it's just me and the needle and the spoon, really. Just I didn't know anyone, and I was in my own little world, and things carried on like that. I did find that doing the heroin actually was quite good. It meant if I had to go out shopping or something, I could walk past all these lines of cars and not feel all the kind of, like the walls coming in like I used to. I think I had real kind of panic attacks coming, trying to be suppressed because of the bereavement. And I met Tommy, and we got chatting, and it just seemed so strange. Suddenly, it was as if somebody had, as if the whole world was in a big bubble and somebody had kind of leant into that bubble and gone, here I am, and he really changed my life. We kind of got to be friends, and for years and years we carried on like that, doing our drugs, just in kind of it sounds crazy, but enjoying it. Then it started to affect our health in different ways. And, Tommy's crime was leading him to go into prison, and it just all the things that had once been fun became just really very boring. The thing that once you kind of look forward to as something to, have fun with, was now something you absolutely had to have, or you couldn't go to bed. I wouldn't get up without having a hit of amphetamine and a hit of heroin ready for when I woke up. But it turned out now I'd got hepatitis C. I've still got a criminal record for possession of drugs, and it does count. Those things you can't always reverse, and the things you do around the years when you first leave school really do map out your whole life. In the years that we spent so much time damaging our bodies, we've probably, we accept we're probably going to die about 20 or 30 years younger than we should. With myself, I'd say, if I'd had somebody to talk to, really, if I'd had somebody to talk to.
It started then, really, 17, 18. I mean, on our days off, we'd just all go down, pile down to the pub or... It was just part of growing up, really. People say, oh, they don't even like it, but I actually enjoyed drinking. I enjoyed the buzz. Relaxed me. On hindsight, I wish I'd realised how bad it would be in my future life. I mean, throwing back 10 beers, 10 pints on a night on my days off would just be the norm, you know. My reputation, because I was literally, well, I mean, when I first went to Canada, I was nominated. I didn't get it because I wasn't born in Canada, but I was nominated for Chef of the Year. Yeah, and we went literally all around the world on this yacht, helicopter on the back and everything. I mean, it's a dream job. But I can't ever remember anyone really sitting down saying, here, listen, buddy, you're going to lose all this. You're going to lose everything. And it's not just the losing of it. How can I say it? It's, you just lose your reputation. I had a condominium in Toronto. It's probably worth £1 million now, swimming pool and everything. I lost that. I literally lost everything. Literally. But in the end, they kind of said, listen, Steve, enough's enough, you know. Every time we go into port, you know, you're the one that gets smashed, and it's not a good advertisement for the boat. In Miami, I was on the streets for nearly a year, like literally on the streets. But I had no choice, you know. I'd run out. I'd literally, run out of money, and most importantly, I was starting to run out of friends. I wish someone had sort of told me, you know, how dangerous it can be for some people. I never forget, there's an association called AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I never forget when we were in San Diego in California, and they had the World Convention of AA. I remember the captain, I'm bragging to the captain how wonderful it was because all the bars were empty. And I never forget him saying, you know what? He said, if anyone should be at that AA convention, it's you. This was about 6 years ago. I kind of laughed. I was still in denial. I knew there was a problem, but I wasn't in any position to admit it. Well, I was hospitalised and, you know, quite a few times. And I think that turned me. I just got sick of it, really. Yeah. I'll confess here, I have had a couple of slip-ups, but in about 4 years I haven't really drank to excess. I'm actually also on the board of governors for the trust as well, mental health trust. It's good to give something back, if I can. If I knew now, back then, I think maybe things could have been different, but you know, that's a hard one.